Welcome back. Two Nigerians, a former Minister of Agriculture and the President of the African Development Bank, Akinwumi Adesina, and billionaire industrialist and philanthropist Aliko Dangote are among the 27 global leaders selected by the United Nations to tackle global malnutrition. The appointment was made by the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, as part of the Scaling Up Nutrition movement committed to fighting malnutrition in all its forms. The leaders are meeting today to take a decision on the continuation of the Sun movement into its third phases 2021 to 2025 and also make commitments to achieve its objectives looking toward the 2020 Tokyo Nutrition for Growth Summit. All right, let's check out gold prices now, which were steady today, having risen to more than two-week peak in the previous session and global slowdown fears and tensions in the Middle East, while an improved Sino-US trade tone weighed on the yellow metal. The spot gold was little changed at $1,521.16 an ounce, and U.S. gold futures were down 0.2% at $1,528.50 an ounce. Well, let's get more on gold prices today with an analyst from the financial derivatives company, Mayowa Igechi. She's here with me in the studio. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
So what's responsible for the fluctuation in price of gold at the international market? Does it have anything to do with the US dollar?
Oh, yes, it does. So there's an inverse relationship between US dollar and gold prices. So when you see a drop in the value of the US dollar, you actually see a rise in gold prices. So when there's turmoil in the market and then a fall in the value of the US dollar, you see investors looking for investment alternatives to store their value. And then gold is known as a safe haven of assets. So ultimately, they start demanding for more gold, and then you see the prices of gold increase.
Now let's talk about the production. That's the global production of gold, which is estimated to be at about 3,332 tons. And we have China as the world's leading producer of gold, and South Africa and Ghana coming as 8th and the 10th largest gold producers globally. Why is Nigeria not on this list?
Okay, so for instance, like you said, Ghana produces about 130.5 tons of gold, and Nigeria just produces about 14 tons of gold. And then if you look at the Ghanaian mining industry, you would see a lot of government involvement. You see foreign direct investment. You see large-scale mining operations. And then unfortunately, when you now look at the Nigerian mining industry, or let me just say, when you look at Nigeria since the oil price boom in 1970s, you have seen that we have placed more emphasis on oil exploration to the detriment of other sectors of the economy. So the mining industry in Nigeria is largely undeveloped, unstructured. We do not even have large-scale mining operations going on now. And most of what we have are small-scale miners and artisans, most of which are even illegal. So that's basically why we're not even able to compete on the global scene.
But in spite of all this, do we have any prospects for gold mining in Nigeria?
Oh, yes, we do. So the government has been looking for ways of increasing their revenue and diversifying the economy. And in this search, they've started looking at other sectors. And I think they realized that between 2016 and 2018, about 353 billion worth of gold was smuggled out of the country. And I think that's really opened their eyes to see the potential in the gold mining industry. So recently, the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development had drafted a gold policy to facilitate the development of the gold value chain. And then they've actually come up with this scheme with the primary aim of this scheme is actually to promote production, aggregation, and refinement of gold in the country for the CBN to actually sell on the international market. In this scheme, they're going to actually create a system for registering small-scale miners and artisans, and also provide a way of access to equipment through lease, hire, and purchase loan facilities. And we believe that if this scheme is properly implemented, because at the end of the day, you can have an idea, and if you don't execute it properly, it still doesn't count. So we believe that if this scheme is properly implemented, we would actually see an increase in Nigeria's gold input and output rather, and then we would actually see more jobs being created down the value chain. And then we hope to see more foreign direct investment in the country through this sector. Ultimately, we hope to see the whole mining industry contributing more to the country's GDP and the country realizing more revenues from this sector.
We all look forward to that. So thank you, Mayowa Ige, research analyst at the Financial Derivatives, for coming on the program.
My pleasure.
And we're still talking commodities, but this time at the oil segment. And prices eased in early trade today as weak manufacturing data from Europe and Japan focused market attention on the gloomy outlook for demand and away from uncertainty around supply disruptions in Saudi Arabia. Brent crude futures fell 35 cents to $64.07 a barrel, and U.S. oil futures were at $58.36, and that was down 28 cents. And still, oil prices remained at comparatively elevated levels for the year in the wake of a September 14 attack on Saudi Arabia's largest oil processing facility that halved output in the world's top oil exporter. Now, a project in Morocco is using agriculture to keep youth at home working. Now, in an area of high youth unemployment, the IFAD project it has implemented agricultural cooperatives that create jobs and encourage young people to turn to farming.
In the remote mountains of Al Haouz province in Morocco, a group of farmers are packing apples ready for sale. Farm projects are helping create jobs in the Atlas Mountains, enabling farmers increase their yield and diversify their sources of income. In a region where unemployment remains high, farm projects here have brought much-needed jobs. For many years, young farmers are migrating to the cities. Climate change raised concerns about shrinking harvest, and farming technology handed down through the generations was antiquated. In order to turn their lives around, adopt new techniques, and sell their products to a wider market, farming cooperatives were formed with support from the International Fund for Agricultural Development and the government. The cooperatives have contributed to creating jobs in the Atlas Mountains and reversing the steady flow of migration.
In the past, our parents used to handle trees in an effective way, randomly. They planted apple trees, but they earned nothing.
For many young people in Al Haouz, the cooperatives have improved production techniques and strengthened their bargaining power, leading to a new sense of pride in their products. About 33,000 smallholder farmers, livestock producers and residents are involved in the production of olives, apples and lamb meat, among other products, in the mountain zones of Al Haouz province. The program wants to increase participation of women and youth and also engage them in value addition of products.
If I didn't come here, what would I have done? I don't know what to say. I would have been unemployed.
If we could replicate this project, in my opinion, young people could find themselves in the fabric of the economy, and they will breathe new life and boost agriculture in the mountain areas, and through them, the mountain areas will become a source of wealth creation instead of an area of poverty and unemployment.
The country's mountainous areas, steppes and arid south are some of the poorest parts of Morocco.
And that's our show today. Thank you for watching. I am BC Adebayo.